Today we're going to be talking about Lesson 77, Units of Capacity. So what is capacity? Capacity is simply the amount of liquid a container can hold. Why is that important? Well, we all know that we should drink lots of water every day. Doctors recommend that we drink 8 cups of water a day. But if I go to the store and I buy a bottle of water, that doesn't come in a cup. It comes in a pint or in a quart. How many cups is that? If I'm making soup for dinner and this recipe calls for 4 cups of chicken broth, but the container, again, doesn't come in cups. It comes in pints or quarts or liters. How do I know how much I need to buy? Let's find out. Okay, so right here I have the equivalent table for units of measure, of liquid measure. That's different than a dry measure like sugar or flour. So I have the US customary system, which we're used to, and we have the metric system. The metric system is very easy, and you guys are familiar with this. 1,000 milliliters is equal to 1 liter. That's it. Pretty simple. Our US system is a little more complicated than that. So here in the chart, it shows how many ounces equal a pint, 16, 2 pints equal a quart, 4 quarts equal a gallon. What they didn't tell you is they didn't talk about cups. So I put down here that 2 cups equals 1 pint. Well, to me, that's a little confusing to look at. So I have made Gallon Man. No laughing at my drawings. This is Gallon Man. You might have made Gallon Man when you were in 2nd or maybe 3rd grade, but this is a picture that represents what this chart over here is telling us. So here I have 1 gallon. And coming off of gallon, we have 2 arms and we have 2 legs, and each of those represents 1 quart. So Gallon Man, 4 quarts equals 1 gallon. And that's shown right over here in our chart. Then my little orange rectangles represent pints. Each quart has 2 pints coming off of it, so each quart is worth 2 gallons. So if I was to ask you how many pints were in a gallon, I would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 pints equals 1 gallon. Okay, and then the red rectangles are cups. It's kind of hard to see on some of these, but each pint equals 2 cups. So there would be 16 cups in a gallon. Okay, so let's look at example 1 in your book today. Feel free to refer back to the chart that we just looked at. The chart is also found on page 568 in your book. All right, so here we have some orange juice. We'll say orange juice. I love orange juice. Okay, so we have a quart of orange juice, and if we look at our picture here, our quart is split right in 2. Okay, and this bottom half is 1 pint. The top is 1 pint. And we know that each pint equals 16 ounces. So 1 quart of juice is how many ounces? Well, all we have to do is add these 2 together. So 16 plus 16. Of course, you are always going to show your work. Equals 32 ounces. Now, OZ is the abbreviation for ounces. Don't ask me why. So you can use that instead of writing out ounces all the way. Example 2, a half gallon of milk is how many quarts of milk. I find it easiest to think back to my gallon man. So I'm going to draw a gallon man really fast. Okay, so here's my gallon. And I know that there are 4 quarts because he has 2 arms and he has 2 legs. So if I wanted to cut gallon man in half, I'm going to do a little surgery here. Okay, and I just want to know how many quarts are in half of him. That would be this side. So 1/2 of a gallon equals 2 quarts. Okay, another way to think about that is I know that there are 4 quarts equals 1 gallon, but I want half of a gallon, so I need to divide both sides by 2, and 4 divided by 2 equals 2 quarts. There we go. All right. Example 3. This table shows us how many pints are in 1 gallon, 2 gallons, 3 gallons, and so forth. So it's asking us right now to find out how many pints are in 4 gallons, 5 gallons, and then 5.5 gallons. Basically continuing to fill out the chart. So we know that if 1 gallon equals 8 pints, that we're going to be multiplying the number of gallons times 8. So the number of gallons times 8 equals the number of pints. So 4 gallons times 8 equals 32 pints. 5 gallons times 8 equals 40 pints. But then it asks us for 5.5 gallons. So I would need to take the 5 gallons, which I know is 40 pints, but then I need to add half of a gallon to that. Okay? Half of 8 is 4, so 40 plus 4 equals 44 pints, and that equals 5.5 gallons. And the final example, talking about liters now. Remember, 1 liter equals 1,000 milliliters. And so, as they say here in the first sentence, a half of a liter equals only 500 milliliters. So this question is asking us how many milliliters is in 3.5 liters. Well, 1 liter equals 1,000 milliliters. Let's multiply that by 3. So 1,000 times 3. And of course, you should always have your units of milliliters. Plus, now I want just a half. So 500 milliliters. We have 3,000 milliliters for my 3 liters, plus that extra half equals 3,500 milliliters. And of course, you should always have an equivalent equals 3.5 liters. Okay, if you need extra help on the lesson practice, check out Khan Academy or even check out the other Discovery streaming site that I showed you today. And we will go over the lesson practice tomorrow.